Hello everyone. Welcome back to another Thursday streaming. So, today, I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll figure it out. Welcome if you're just popping in. I see someone just hopped in over on Twitch. Let me get my chat opened up so I can see everyone. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I don't know. I'm open to playing around with something new today. Probably do some more blue team content, probably, but I might be able to be persuaded to do some offensive stuff. I was looking at a SQL dump room that looked pretty interesting. Hello, hello, welcome. I'll give you a wave back. But I'm waiting to see what it is. I think it might be a Wireshark type room, but we'll see. Yeah, if you have any questions, Aki, what is that, Akil17? Or is that, yeah, Akil, feel free to drop them in chat. Happy to do it. What have you been learning lately? Yeah, this one's funky. It's making us actually start up not a normal attack system, but like a normal, looks like a specific VM that was designed for this. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I know I'm not sharing my screen. Hello, hello, welcome. Looks like we got someone in from YouTube. Hello, Silas. What have you been up to this week? So let's see, what's new? What's new with me? So I got my venture race knocked out recently. So that was, I think, it was supposed to be 40 miles, but we missed the last section of biking because my bike uh, didn't work properly. But we got about 30-ish miles in of running, biking, or some, we still did some biking and then canoeing, so that was fun. Now it's time to train for a 100K race. That'll be a good time. Got a couple of videos in the works coming out. So a couple we're digging into interview strategies, interview questions, and then I have another video where I'm gonna help people learn the basics of Splunk. So super quick, the basically top 5 things that you really need to know if you want to learn how to be a Splunker. So why Splunk? That's one of the ones I'm more familiar with and a pretty prevalent sim. I'll probably do one on Elastic as well. Same difference though, they're almost all roughly the same. Well, nothing much Silas is better than a lot of bad stuff. So we'll take that one. Other than that, I think that's it. We just dropped I think it was a video this week for C-Suite Cyber. So that's a good time. It was basically an extension of what we did at the conference talk. So we did an adaptive purple teaming talk and over at Simply CyberCon with Jerry and his crew. Good time. AJ is my partner in crime. We pretty much started a purple team together at a company. And so we were just talking about some of the lessons learned we had working there. So it should be good. Hopefully some people get some good stuff out of that extended version. I know we had fun doing it. Let's see. New to hacking, maybe 6 to 7 months. Nice. So what's your favorite area in there, Silas, that you've learned so far with hacking? There's a lot of fun things. I enjoy the exploit dev. Oh, you like a web app person. Cool. Have you done any of the stuff from Portswigger? They have some really good web app training for free. It's really great if you hadn't seen it. Ah, yeah. What did you think about it? Yeah. It's really, really good. So for those of you who haven't heard about it yet, Portswigger, which is who makes the infamous Burp Suite, the pretty much gold standard for web app pen testing. So it's a transparent proxy. And yeah, they basically have free training. It's really good. And you learn a lot. Kind of, I even think the visuals they do make it really easy to understand the concepts. Web app can be pretty tough to grasp. So I think they do a really good job, and there's lots of guides as well. So if you need a different voice to help you out, yeah, good Burp Suite. I use Burp Suite only because I have a commercial license because of my pen test company. But when I do CTFs and goofy stuff, I always use Zap because it doesn't throttle. It makes me so mad, the throttling the free community version of Burp Suite. Ah, drives me nuts. But what are you gonna do? All right, so I guess we can chug along. Feel free to keep chatting, and yeah, we can keep chatting. So I don't know what's going to be in this one. Looks like a network um, traffic capture with SQL injection. So SQLI. Speaking of web app pen testing, and I guess we have to find a flag somewhere in this. So right now we are in Try Hack Me. So I have a subscription in here, and I guess this is a hard one. I haven't done this one before. This is kind of how I roll. I just do stuff because I am a manager now, sadly, so I don't get to play. So yeah, I use this time to learn and continue to enjoy what I got into cybersecurity for. So yeah, so we're going to play with SQLI, dump, web traffic, and try to find a flag, I think. So should be fun. So it's just called SQEL. Um, C- wow, I couldn't even spell it. SEQUEL. I'll put it in chat. You know what's great is that it is both this and Hack the Box are super affordable. Um, they're it's it used to be kind of tough. Like we used to have Vuln hubs, which wasn't bad, but you spend a lot of time fixing issues and tracking problems, sadly. So it's pretty affordable. I like that they do it for, was it 14 bucks a month or whatever. So it's pretty good to see that. We have good quality training. I know sometimes there's things in here that piss me off. Like I've been having issues with their Splunk stuff. So as I was doing my video, I couldn't get the Splunk instance to start up, but still less stuff for me to deal with for sure. All right, so we don't really have a ton of tips to go off of, so I imagine we just have to go through this traffic and find bad. Looks like there is 52,000 packets, which will be fun. So we have to figure out how to sort through this mess. My guess is that we can probably utilize the port number to identify the attack. So we have something targeting 80. 80 would be the web application itself. We see search.php here. So just really logically trying to tune into this attack. What else we can do is we can just follow this request, perhaps, if it'll pop up. There we go, TCP stream. And so we can do this instead. So what I imagine is happening is we probably have something like SQL map running, which is super, super noisy. Yeah, so we see some URL encoding up here. Looks like a SQLI attack, pretty much. They were pretty nice to give it to, yeah, SQL map. Look at that, boom, called it. So it's pretty nice of them to do it unencrypted so we can see it. And kind of as we look through this, we'll probably skip around a little bit. We want to identify when they actually start soliciting information from the database, right? So that's where I'm guessing the flag is going to be. And we might want to do that by starting at the end versus the top. Because typically, if you're not familiar with SQL map, it throws a bunch of junk at it. And until it starts figuring out, one, it says, all right, let me throw all these different attacks to figure out, is it a blind, a normal attack? All right, now let me try to identify what type of system. It probably does a type of database first. And then it starts progressively, or the user rather, will start progressing through what are the databases, what are the tables, what are the columns, all that. It's just a really iterative approach. So with that in mind, we could probably work backwards and identify some stuff. And the other question we have here is, are we expected to target the system itself, like where the SQLI is occurring, or are we expected to get it from this data? Because sometimes they like to screw with me, and you actually have to attack yourself. So what I'm seeing is there's some of this stuff saying the same and a few things that are actually changing here. And my assumption may be wrong. So what we can do is probably take this and URL decode it. Let's see, I don't think we have any decoding in here. Let's go hop over to CyberChef to see if it'll help us out here. Oh, so I don't know if Silas is still in here. How do you feel about SQLI? Are you pretty familiar with that one? And how annoying are blind SQL injections? Those are pretty annoying, aren't they? Wow, this thing is terribly slow. So let's see if we can do it here. Nope, don't want to do that. CyberChef is what we want. Then we want to, and Burp Suite has a decoder as well, since we're talking about Burp Suite. Does some cool stuff. So URL decode, boom, there we go. So looks like from profile, cast name, looks like this could be a blind where it's a very iterative approach. Well, there's not a blind because there's not a sleep. But also, they may be using like a bubble method. Some people call it a binary method. So this is typically a reference to an ASCII version. And this is typically, like this part is utilized to walk through the characters is what it's utilized for typically. So, oops, let's go back. Oh, I still have all these open. Let me close these out. Ah, shoot. I spawned another one. Awesome. See ya. This is all from the Conti stuff we did last week. Welcome if you're just showing up. We are working on a SQLI thing. Maybe. I will say, this is most certainly the most frustrating thing with TryHackMe, is that their VMs are painfully slow. Painfully slow. And I don't like it. So we can see they are being iterative at the end of it. So I'm going all the way up. All right, so that's the end of the stream. It looks like they did just walk through it. Let's look at the very end. It's kind of interesting that we're not seeing what I expect at the end. So we could do follow HTTP, see what that looks like. Welcome if you're just joining us. This is fun. All right. That one actually has a search result. That's funny. I wonder if we can do like a larger subset. I've never tried to do that, but we may be able to do a larger subset so we can see all of this at once and just scroll through it instead of having to click through. I hate repetitive stuff. So we may be able to do something like, so search result, this is likely when it comes back true, I would imagine. But I'm also curious if there's a case where he's actually, or she, could be a she hacker, if there's anything besides this in here, so this HTML. Let's see if this actually exists. I want to see if I can touch this application. So we could do maybe HTML where where this is coming back from the server, right? This is typically the server response. This is the request. And so we could do a full listing of the response where this is the outcome. So this is the true. And maybe we're supposed to piece together this, piece together the SQLI, because I can see that in my head, right? If this comes back, it's true. So whatever this value is true. So if we can get a list of all of those, we'd probably be in pretty good shape. So the question is, how do we do that? Because I'm doubting that this system is actually up for us to touch. Let's see what my IP is. Or is it IP? Is there IP all? I'm never on a system. How do we not have if config? This must be like, this is Ubuntu. Sheesh. I wonder if this will install. I don't even know if that's a package. Probably not. Let's install this. Because I'm lazy. Oh, it won't let me install anything. Oh, we probably need to do apt update. Ugh, so annoying. Stupid Ubuntu. Anyways, so we can do. What is the IP commands to pull your interfaces? Version statistics, maybe details. IP. Just give me everything, please. Maybe IP address. There we go. 127. Yeah, sorry, let me know if I need to zoom in more as well. Happy to do so. I know sometimes it's pretty tough to see. 195.62. INET. I think we have to piece together what I was talking about. Let's think about this. How can we piece together? So if we just do HTTP only, that's this. Let's see if this includes the response. Okay, so this has both. So if we, how many of these do we have? Quite a bit. All right, so now we need to filter again. So I'm trying to think about how we would filter this and get both. So the trick here, right, is if we go with, say, hey, we want to know when the search result equals something other than this, then we need a way to also grab the associated request as well. So we need a way to be able to do that. That's the trick here. I can filter on this easy. So I can say not this. Let's see, apply as filter and not selected. This is going to give us stuff, but it may not give us what we want. Because the issue, again, is that we'll have the search, the original search, but we will not have the response. So the response should be coming from here. So with this, we can say that there should be a prefacing response or a query from the SQLi that resulted in a true that gave us this. And if that's the case, then we can identify all the sources and piece together what the ASCII characters are and basically be able to enumerate what's in the database that way. But we have to tie it to the source. And I am very rusty in protocol, in networking stuff in general. So I think there should be something in here that comes where it's tied to it. So maybe the port number would be the same, perhaps. I wish I could just expand this. Let's see. Here we go. Let's expand this, and let's expand this. So we may get, so this is 80, what's the 4982? So this is ephemeral, so this will probably change in general, but the database should be replying. So if it sends a connection where the source is something, the target should be replying on that same port as well. So let's see if we can add port. Destination port. Did that give us what we're looking for? Sure did. But I also want source and destination. See if it'll let me do it. So we'll look on our source port. It won't let me do another column. Interesting. So this is probably just me being rusty with this. Here we go, source address, source. So let's see if we can, I'm looking to see if I can add additional columns here. And if we can, then we'll be good. So these are protocols. Don't really care about the protocol. I want to add columns. See if it'll let me undo whatever I did. Maybe not. That's fine. All right, so yeah, any suggestions on how we can connect the source with the destination? So again, we have a HTTP request. So we have this one. This is sourcing from source port is 80. So we need to see where the source is 49806, which is this one. So these two match. And that's what we're looking for. Is if this is the actually, let's see. I was confused for a second. I was like, oh, do we actually have the response? If we can get it where we also get the response, we're in business. But if we don't get the response, we need to figure out how to differentiate the response from the request, which is might be problematic. So we have this. So this is the GET request. Where is the response? Welcome if you're just joining us. So let us know if you learned anything this week. That's what I want to know. Teach me something. Right now, I'm trying to make sure we're getting the response. So this should have a response somewhere. The problem with doing this after work is that my brain refuses to work sometimes. So it has a link to the response. So the response should be packet turn on error. So how are we not getting the responses I expected? Internal error. Let's find one where we're getting an actual response that reads like what I expected. Okay, so here's one where we're actually getting a response. What is this one? Why is this one so massive? Because they're doing a lot of spaces. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. Or I had it a second ago and I lost it. We'll find it again. Maybe. So we could probably, if we find a good one, we can utilize that length, that response length, and probably be able to filter on that actually. I haven't seen another one in a hot minute. All right, here we go. Here's one. So is it just not contained in here? I'm looking for it. All right, so what is this length? The length is 425. So if we have 425, we can identify it. So let's see how far apart. So this is, the request is actually in 3294, which is right here. I wonder if there's anything in here that we can utilize for our own ends. Let's see if chat can help us with this one. This will be an interesting one. I don't know if it can, but why not? Now the question is, there it is. So we want, let's ask Google, AI mode. Wireshark, is there a way to find, how should I word this? Find all responses in a web request. Let's see, find with web requests. The problem sometimes with these is you have to word it just right. With web requests, is there a way to find all responses with a specific string and their associated requests? Let's see. Yep, select packet bytes. Step 2, once you have response packets and the packet details, you can now use the packet number from step 2 to view both the requests. There's got to be a clever way to do this. That's, I was thinking that this would be a lot tougher than it looked. And it is, and that's okay. Let's see, how many packets do we have? Let's see if we can filter this down. There may be a way to just pull only those associated, or at least get the list. I wonder how many there are. So let's just narrow. So we can narrow by source and just see how many we have real quick. So we can say where, apply filter, where source is selected. That should narrow us down quite a bit. And so we're looking for packet length of likely 425. Let's exclude this one. See what else we have. I'm looking to see if there's any peculiar things that happen to stand out that are especially odd. Ah, darn. I screwed up my query. So sad. Let's go back to this. All right, here we go. This is 425. So we want to say we want to, all right, so and selected. I meant to do and. That's where we kind of screwed up at. So we have a so we are looking for only a specific response. Hey, welcome if you're just joining us. So I messed something up here. Let's see what's in here. No, this is correct. Okay. So this is quite a bit of results. So there's out of the 52,000, there were 3,100 that were successful. That's tough. Now we need to figure out a way to pull the request in frame out here, and we may be able to do that by maybe pulling out this as a column. I don't know if that's possible. Yeah, okay. So we do have a list now of every one of these 3,000. So now we just need to figure out what the request is, sadly. Ah, we do need to get rid of these as well. Bias filter and not selected. It's right 3,000. Let's just make sure everything else looks good. Scrolling through this quickly. All right, cool. So all of them are the same length. The reason why we're doing the same length is because we wanted a true statement. And that true statement means the SQLI was correct. And now with this information, we should be able to get the request in some way. So I wonder if we can export all of these and then somehow pull only those. Let's see. Let's see if we can do that. I don't know. I'm sure there's a way. There's always a way. Let's see, what's it say? Request in. let's see, we have a list of these values. Let me give it some context. There are 3,000. How do I pull the requests for all of these easily? I don't know, maybe that'll work. We'll see, we'll see. Sheesh, it wants me to do a 3,000 list. Oh, we could use Tshark. Save your list. Press the text, run the command. Oh, that's cool. Let's use the Tshark method. That looks cool. I'm down for that one. All right, so what is the easiest way to create the list from my filter with the requests in a column? Interesting. I wonder if we can do it in Wireshark though. Let's give it a go. So let's see, protocol decode, edit. Edit specified packet, export packet dissections. I've never done that. Let's see, selected packets. Nope. Displayed. Is there a way to specify columns? Test. Yeah, that's not going to do what we want. Might have to do it. Might have to do it with Tshark maybe, but surely there's a way. Oops. Let's see, tools. Resolved address, looking. Packet full screen, zoom, expand all, collapse. So I might be able to, well, we couldn't follow. Usually there's like, the export would pull files out. File set, nope. I don't think this would work because I think this is looking for specific objects. These are all the requests, so it's not applying our filter. So that's not a path forward. Tshark might be the way. Feel free to ask some questions if you're in chat. I'm sure you have some. I'm happy to answer them. While I think about how to solve what we're trying to do here. This is a tough one. It's fun though. Surely there's a way to export only these packets and then we can do some funky stuff. Let's see if it saved it. We're going to check LS, Tech LA, desktop. I want to see, yeah, so it's not even condensing the packet size. So that's interesting. There's Wireshark. I was like, where is this thing at? So maybe, let's see, export specified packets. That's probably what we're looking for. Test one. Displayed only. Okay, so this is what we probably want. Now we want to probably use Tshark to pull out the that specific field, so the request in frame, and then we just want the number, and then we're going to walk through that and create a list of URL requests. Okay, so this is getting pretty in the weeds. I know. This is a difficult one. So LS Tech LA. Let's just make sure test one is smaller. Test one is significantly smaller. Okay. All right, so next step. So this is what it's saying we do. I'm sure we're going to have to modify it slightly. This stuff never frickin' works the way it says. Okay. And just want like mouse pad or something. Wonder if mouse pad's on this. Don't want them. I don't want them. I want something easy. Maybe it's an office. Stupid. Come on. So annoying. And let's see if we have mouse pad in here. Probably not. I guess, I mean, we can settle for one of those other ones if we have to. I just wanted something I could paste in, deal with. I guess we could do it outside of it as well. I don't like using Office typically because you'll have a lot of these non-displayable characters that will jack up what you're trying to do. So I don't particularly like to do that. There we go, Pluma. Never heard of this. All right, good enough. All right, so what I'm doing basically is I like to have a working space because life is tough and stuff never works the way it's supposed to. So I like to be able to work in here instead of the command line, essentially. Let's see how this works. There's nothing in there. So let's see if we can get it to explain it to us. Adjusting the input, your capture and output file name is needed. The command filters for HTTP responses and extracts a specific field containing the request frame number. So we could probably take this part off. Then we could probably leave that on. So we don't need the filter. Okay, we actually have values in it this time. I think. So something's up. So let's do, instead of outputting it, we can work on the raw request and we'll output it later. So I think the field, I think this part is off. I think this is we're in the right direction. But I think this part is off. So let's just see if we can understand what it's doing here. So this is what we're looking at. Extracts the value of the request in field. Tells it to output specific fields, but we didn't specify the fields. All right, so let's see, I don't need to filter. I just want a list with the request in frame value. If I could just get that section out, we'd be good to go. Will contain a single column. Notice request info is not automatically populated for all your packets. To add the -2 flag. I've never heard of that. But we can add it, why not? What is it? Tshark -2. I wonder if this is a case where it's just making crap up. I mean, it could be. So it's still not pulling it out. We can start looking this up ourselves. So Tshark pull out specific, let's see, pull out, is it request found in? Hey Din, welcome. I'm doing some funky stuff tonight. Welcome to the show. Let's see. Let's actually go back here. I don't understand. So maybe we don't. So we do this, but we need to figure out the specified fields. Let's see. Tshark. Output all available fields. Let's try that. Tech G fields. Tech G fields. It's only available as a first option. So let's get out of that. G. What have you been up to this week, Dan? Do anything cool? Oh, wow. That is a lot of different fields. HTTP dot request in. So that is the field. So that was kind of what we were wondering, or at least I was wondering. Not that one. E.request in. We might need to open our test one just to make sure everything's in there that we were expecting. So it has our value. So it has our value, but I don't see the request in field here. Well, you know, a movie's always a good time, Dan. Yeah, so what we have going on is I'm working on this challenge in Try Hack Me. And so essentially what I've gathered so far is that there is a SQL injection attack, and I have been able to identify which packets, so which responses indicate a successful SQLI. And so what I am working on doing there in the previous section, it told us that the request was in a specific packet. And so I am trying to find that in here now where it tells us where the request is in a specific packet. And I think it only does that if we have all the data, actually. So we may need to apply this filter in Tshark to do what we want to do. So I have a pretty massive filter. And we'll see. I don't know. I think it doesn't. I think we have to make some modifications to get it to work in Tshark. Let's see, convert this to a Tshark filter. Yeah, so it's not multiple packets. So you have a request. So you have the web request that has the SQL injection, and then you have the response to the web request. So right now, that filter is the web or the response to the web request that indicates it was a successful SQLI, but we need the request itself so that we can see when so we can see what the query was, the SQLI, and from that we can extrapolate what the values are of the table. It's very confusing, I know. Let me see if I can find our original one. So this is the original, and let me close this up here. So basically we have 52,000 packets in here, so a crap ton. And in that 52,000 packets, only a few are actually successful. Let me see if I can find it. I think this is our old, yeah, this is the old PCAP. Let's see if the other one will pop up. I can open it. Give me a second. I'll show you what I am talking about. Here we go. So this is the original one. So notice there's 52,000 packets. But not every one of these are successful attacks. So there's very specific things we look for. Let me find a HTTP request. Here we go. So in this request, we see this value. It's a lovely, this is an actual, this isn't an SQLI. Let me find one with an SQLI here. So this is an SQLI, right? But the response is, let's see, let me open it. If it doesn't work, right, if it doesn't come back as true, which is what they're looking for, our response is going to look funky. So this is the response if it comes back false, or at least that's what I'm interpreting. This is what the response is if it comes back true. So the SQLI comes back true. And so we need to find what the actual query is that created the true condition. And if we can do that, we're going to be in a really good spot. So you see how there's not a good response here? Boom. So this is what we're looking for here. So 1 equals true. So yeah, so basically I got to be able to tie it back to this, but there are 3,000 results. So that's why I'm trying to export only those with the true condition and then pull out what this is. And then we can utilize this to build what's in the database, because we'll be able to tell based off of this, whatever this value is. Because we see it later on where they're iterating over specific positions in whatever they're looking for. And we need a flag. So that's how we're doing the flag. Did that make sense? I know it's a wild ride tonight. Welcome to welcome to the stream. Welcome to other new people too. Feel free to ask questions. Happy to share. So let's see. So we should be able to get what we want by just putting it in single quotes and adding attack Y. So let's try that. So this is our query. So we just need to do this. So right now I'm prepping our filter. I do need the name of the file we'll be searching, which is going to be challenge. And once we prep this, we'll run it and see if it gets us what we want. That, and I think it was tac Y, I believe. Let's just double check. It is a dash Y. All right, so we can take this, throw it into our command line, and it should work like magic. Okay, it does work like magic. Now we need to extract the field, the request found in field or whatever. Yeah, I mean, feel free to go ahead and ask questions, Akil. Happy to answer them. Yeah, usually I've been trying to do it at the end, but who cares? Ask questions, we'll answer. And I'll keep hacking as you type, because there's usually a little bit of a delay as you write, but what you got? All right, so let's see. I need to get, now I need to pull this specific field here. So now we need to add this here. And take that, add it to our thing. And let's see if this works. Ah, it worked. Yes. All right. We got what we wanted. So now this should indicate every single one of our requests. And now we're going to utilize Tshark to pull the request for every one of these files. And we're going to put that into another file. And then we're going to do some magic on that. So I know this doesn't look exciting. It is very exciting. We got what we were looking for. Now it's time to continue iterating here. All right, so let's rerun it. Let's put it into a file so that we can work on it. We'll just call it responses.txt, and we'll probably have it essentially, I think AI was telling us that we wanted to iterate over it one at a time, and it works. So let's see if I can find it where it was telling us to iterate over it. Here we go, all, let's see, redirect. That's not what we want. I'm trying to find it. It did a really good job with it. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Format into a comma separated list with curly brackets. Apply. So we don't want to do, we want to do Tshark. So this is, okay, so this is what we want here. So this is going to basically help us walk through all of the actual requests and only pull out the ones we care about. So that's going to be key here. And let's get this out the way. Can everyone see my screen okay? Did you have any questions, Akil? I know I asked that a second ago, but just want to make sure that that I'm answering whatever you got. Sounds like you have something on your mind. So I think we did call it requests. No, we called it responses. Responses, filtered request. And I only want, now we need to figure out what field we want, and we only want the request URI field. So so using my, let's see, line delimited list of packet numbers, I need the, what did I say it was? I need the request URI field. We'll let this chuck. So this is a good case of us utilizing like our knowledge in conjunction with AI to get to where we want. It obviously was struggling to figure out what I needed, but we're definitely coaxing it. So let me throw this up on the screen. Let's see what we got. So recently, people are saying tech market has been bad, but currently on CyberSeek website still shows there's high demand for cyber workers, but low skillful candidates. What do you think? Okay, let's add context here. Will 2026 look better for cyber folks and land my dream SOC job? So yeah, lots to unpack here. I'm unfamiliar with CyberSeek, but we can pull it up. I've never heard of it. Or maybe I have. Supply and demand heat map. Let's see. Do you have a link where you're showing the trends that you're looking at? So is this what you're looking at here on the screen? Where you've seen a drop off since 2010? Historical trend in the ratio comparing the number of available cybersecurity workers relative to employer demand. There has been kind of a down market the last couple of years, and I think a lot of it has to do with organizations were waiting to see what was going to happen with the economy. They were just unsure, and tariffs have been a big thing. So some companies are pretty scared. I will say that for people who interview well and have a good foundation, you are going to have a much easier time. So I think where I work at, we're about to open up hiring again, and we have quite a few positions around the world. And it's very hard to find candidates with a good foundation. So, if you've been working on a lot of the stuff I've been recommending, such as get that Sec Plus as a foundational cert or your CYSA, something like that, any of those foundational cybersecurity certs, and then getting a hands-on certification in lab time, you're probably going to have a much easier time if you throw in a diploma, like a bachelor's degree or associate's degree, even better. The problem is, right, you have all these recommendations from influencers out there that are like, you don't need a degree, you don't need certifications. That's true. Very true. You don't. However, you limit the access you have to the overall job pool. So the more things you add to your resume, the more jobs that will be available to you. And I say that because, like, the roles that we hire for, we have specific requirements from the government that says, hey, you have to have one of these certifications, one, and you have to have a degree or a certain number of years of experience. So we can hire brand new people, but you have to have a degree. We're not going to hire you without experience if you don't have a degree. Um, so there's a little give and take. Bigger companies also require degrees. I came from banking. They, for the most part, require degrees. They're more formal, old school. So I will say, overall, is the cybersecurity job market going to get better? I don't know. Don't know. Can't tell you. Um, I think we, I think there's some things in there that may increase the cybersecurity market, especially in the government space a little bit more, with the CMMC stuff being pushed down. If the economy is doing better, we're probably going to have more jobs available as well. But I will say that since I've been in over 10 years, I have seen that baseline for entry level candidates continue to climb. And so that is something to be aware of as well. Um, do you have any follow up questions there? This is a pretty good site. I think I have seen this. I believe someone on LinkedIn had posted this at one point and looked at it. Yeah, look, so for everyone who, I'm gonna put this in chat. So for everyone who doesn't think Security Plus is a good certification to get, look at this. This is ridiculous. This is why I recommend. I did a manual kind of pool of this. Well, I did it with some scripting stuff, but it's pretty ridiculous. Some other things that will also help you out in the job market as well is if you're willing to move, it helps. And I say that, and some people are pretty resistant to the idea. I get it. If we have families, we don't want to uproot them to chase our dream. That is the thing, right? We do have certain constraints we have to work within, but if you can move, you're going to have a lot more opportunities, essentially. So for me, right, when I got started, I left South Carolina, moved to Detroit, Michigan for an internship, then moved to Florida for my first cybersecurity job, and then moved back to South Carolina. Um, and then once I moved back here, I've been mostly working remote. Um, but I was willing to move to get to a position where I could get a remote job. And if you're in these country or these states up here that doesn't have a ton of openings, you're going to be at the mercy of whatever is available, right? South Carolina looks like they have a ton of positions, but here in Charleston, one of the bigger cities, there's not a ton. It's almost solely government work. So if you can't get a clearance, um, you're you're going to have a tough time getting in the market. We have a lot of colleges here too pumping out um, degree holders, and they're competing for a very small amount of jobs. It's tough. Northern Virginia, you have a lot of options. There's a ton over in Virginia because you have DC over there. Lots of stuff in DC, McLean, all that. There's tons of companies there. So you may be in a good spot. Are you able to get a security clearance? because that will increase the likelihood of you getting something as well. So very, very cool site. I learned something. Let's see what this career pathway stuff is. Cyber security specialist, incident intrusion analyst. One thing I hate about our industry is that we don't use a common lingo for stuff. So like, what the heck is a cybersecurity specialist? I read that and I think like it's compliance. This I think is more like a SOC analyst maybe, but we don't use a lot of common terminology, sadly. Same with cybersecurity analysts. A lot of times you'll see that and it's compliance if you actually look up the job. So pretty tough. Pretty tough. Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, so we see 47% require a bachelor's degree. I think what a lot of people trying to break into the industry don't do is do exactly what this website is pulling out. It's pulling out all these things that can give you an indication of how to make yourself more valuable. So, like for instance, if you have a bachelor's degree, you are going to be able to apply to what 94% of the roles out there. That's awesome. Um, if you get a security plus, you're going to be in a really good spot as well based off of this other map. Let's see if this one, nope. I think it was this one. If you get a security plus, you're going to be able to apply to over 250,000 jobs. So making yourself a more marketable candidate is always going to be a good thing. So once you get that first certification, it's not done, right? You want to continue to build that resume, and it's just going to increase your marketability and increase the odds that you're going to get the job. So it's kind of a never-ending thing, and that's something I've done in my career as well. I think I'm at like 18, 19 certifications now, but always try to get at least one a year. This year was my OSEP certification. Last year I did some, I think it was an Amazon cloud certification. But yeah, you just got to keep growing, keep getting better. When you start specializing, um, that's where you start going after specialization stuff. What are you trying to do, Akil? Are you trying to do SOC work? Or are you trying to do pen testing stuff? What you looking at? All right. While you're talking about that, I'll have to make sure I share that with other people for sure. Let's see. Forgot what I was doing. The following. Okay, so I think this is what we want here. So I'm gonna pull that. We'll bring it over here. And we'll close that. Pull this up. I don't want to do that. I want to do that. And we might be able to get it. Let's see. Let's see if this works for us. I don't think it will. I think there's going to be an issue with this, the cat stuff. Yeah, SOC Blue Team. Congrats. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah. So what's your resume look like so far? What are you working with? I'd love to see. Yeah. Yeah, any of those entry level SOC certifications will do. So pick whatever one stands out to you. I will say BTL 1 is probably the most well known, but all of them look pretty good. And the goal again is to add something else to your resume, but to also get you experience utilizing tools, utilizing the processes, and putting all that theory into practice. But not only that, but it's also going to help you with the SOC interview itself. definitely going to help with the SOC interview. So I think we've been misled. Let's see. So it says we can't use T and Y. Let's try. Let's see what the difference is. It looks exactly the same. Display filters are specified with both Y. With both with -Y and with additional command line arguments. I don't, it looks exactly the same. So let's see what it says. So it's saying it wants us to encapsulate it. Cool. See if that works. Like this is the fun part with AI is I don't have to go and read the manuals anymore and like spend multiple hours trying to construct something. But I do have to use my knowledge to make sure it's working. So it added the $sign here. That makes sense that it did that. I will look in a second at your response there. Oh. So got a really good question from Den here. Do you enjoy learning from certs? I find it hard studying for certs, especially if it's a bunch of theory. Are you just pushing yourself to do certs, or do you truly enjoy learning from them? So I haven't done theoretical certs in quite some time. The AWS one was probably the last one I've done. Hated it. Had to do it because work required it. But before that, I hadn't done one in a few years. I think the CASP, the CAS Plus, I did before that. I hate theoretical certs. I'm with you, Dan. I hate them. I would rather do hands-on certifications any day of the week. So like this year, I did the OSEP, all hands-on. The exam was like 48-hour exam, and it was just applying your knowledge. I definitely prefer those. And the reason why I prefer those and I do enjoy hands-on certifications is that it's a structured learning format. So if you're going into a specialty and you're pretty new, you don't really know what you have to study, which is probably why a lot of you folks are in here where, hey, I want some advice. There's a lot of overwhelming knowledge and I need someone to guide me. That's kind of what you get with certifications. And so it's structured, so it really speeds up your learning and you can focus on the most important things. Um, and eventually you'll get to the point where you kind of go off on your own journey and explore like I have done probably the last few years where I got into writing malware and whatnot. There isn't really a certification for that, but I'm piecing together all these other pieces of knowledge to build onto that skill that I'm seeking. So the answer, I guess, in short, then is I hate theoretical ones, which is also why I've put off the CISP for the last 10 years. I have started it a couple times, and then I'm like, I hate my life. I don't want to do this. And then I move on to a hands-on certification or something else. So, yep, that's my feedback. So the OSEP, I've done the OSCP as well. So I have the OSCP and the OSEP. I'll put it in chat. Yeah, so I've done both of those. Yes, they are very difficult. So back when I did the OSCP, they didn't do AD. So the OSCP had 5 individual systems, and they were kind of like their own problem to solve. And they had the one exploit dev system as well, which was worth like 25, 30 points, something like that. Then the rest of them were like normal progression. the OSEP was an AD environment. It was pretty complex, and yeah, it was fun. Got to learn a lot more tricks. And I will say the OSEP is like the OSCP, but on steroids, because all the security is now turned on, and so you have to avoid a lot of stuff. You can't just execute stuff. It's not going to work, and you have to spend a lot of time developing the attack a little bit more to get around the defenses in place. So yeah, I loved it. I had a lot of fun, and I got to use a lot of the information for work because I was doing purple teaming at the time. Highly recommend. I love OffSec certs. People hate OffSec certifications. Um, I love OffSec certifications. So it is what it is. I prefer them because I learn a lot. Yeah, sometimes they're kind of jerks, but it in some of the complaints that people give as well is that they teach you one thing and they test you on another. That's kind of true, but also kind of not true. They teach you one thing and they expect you to expand on that and to continue to um, better understand the attack or the technique itself. And they also provide that opportunity in the labs. So they'll have a basic lab, then they'll have a more advanced lab where they expect you to, again, expand on that knowledge, and then that's how the exam is. So if all you did was read the book and or the lab guide, and then you didn't do any of the labs, you're going to be in trouble because you didn't push yourself to fully understand whatever the techniques are, because there are nuances and there are certain things, um, certain configurations in the environment that could throw the attack off, and you have to learn how to compensate for those changes. Like Kerberos attacks are freaking ridiculous. Um, they're so finicky. Like that's one thing, right? It's like, oh, it's not working. It's not vulnerable. No, you probably just need to inject the ticket again because for some reason it just stopped working. Stupid stuff like that. But yeah, they're a good time. Let's see, requests. So is responses. So maybe, okay, so maybe it did work. Oh, dude, I'm so stupid. I didn't even update the name. What an idiot. I swear I know what I'm doing when the day starts, like when I'm actually haven't worked all day. I think I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning and it's now 7:30 almost, so I've been I've been at it for a while today. This would be cool if this works. This is the Power Bash. So I believe I was 26 or 27 when I got my first job. So my story is kind of fun. At least I think it's a fun story where I was in the military, I was in the infantry, nothing to do with computers, obviously. And I got out, was looking for a job. All I could get, so I was job hunting for like 4 months, and I finally got a job at a rental car agency, and I hated my life. It was one of the worst jobs I have ever had. And I've worked a lot of crappy jobs. It was just horrible. But I'm also not a salesperson, right? Um, and I started looking for something to do different. And I used to work at a help desk in high school, so I took a web hacking course. Someone in here was talking about web stuff earlier, and so I did that course. I knocked it out in like maybe 2 weeks. I put in my 2 weeks notice, and I was like, I'm just gonna go figure out how to get into this thing. And I went back to school as well. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, went back to school, and then I just started putting in for internships and contract work. I got a little bit of contract work to hold me over and start building up that IT experience on my resume a little bit. Then lo and behold, I got an internship at the VA. General IT, nothing to do with cybersecurity, really, right? It's just general IT stuff, help desk for the VA hospital. And there's a lot of really cool people there. and they were very supportive of my goals. I was like, yeah, I want to be a pen tester. Like that was my goal. I want to hack stuff. And they were super supportive. I was like, yeah, so I just want to learn about security. Hey, network guy, can you show me what you do? Hey, vulnerability management guy, can I hang out with you? And so they would show me everything that they did. I automated as much as my job as possible so I could just hang out with these other people. And I lucked up getting into the vet success program for SANS, so big name, and they're very good. They gave us 3 free certifications, so like 21 grand worth of certs for free. And then I finished my first certification with them, the GSEC, and I was about to test for my second one, which was the GCIH, and I got a job offer for down in Miami and I was up in Detroit at the time working at the VA hospital, and that's how I got in. They found me, and this is why I swear by LinkedIn. They found me in LinkedIn. Recruiters can search by pretty much any field in your LinkedIn profile, and that's how they found me. And they say, hey, do you want to interview? And first I thought it was a scam. I was like, there's no way someone is off reaching out and offering me a job right now. Like I'm a nobody. And yeah, they checked out. They're a big name now, ReliaQuest down in Tampa. So pretty big. And that was my first job working in a SOC. So highly recommend. It's a really good place to cut your teeth. All right, let's see. Hey, look at that. We have all of our URIs now. All right, so now let's see if we can URL decode in the command line. Can I URL decode in the command line? Let's see. I don't want to use Python. Bash encode while redo. No, I need actual full decoding. Oh, Perl. So yeah, long story short, yeah, 26, 27, 28, something like that. I think it was closer to, might have been 20, 27. 27. No, it definitely wasn't 26, 27, 28. CyberChef would do the trick, Dan, but it, it's a big file. So we're not going to be able to load 3,000 lines in the CyberChef without it choking. So we have to find a more efficient way to do it. We may just break down into and just do Python. Let's see, what's this say? Your encoded text Perl. Wonder if it will let me. Let's see, it is more than just %20, which is a space. I want to feed my my file with URIs and output a decoded file. Let's see what it says. It's probably going to end up being Python, which is fine. All right, so this might do the trick then. Let's see, we'll take a peek. So this is where we're just kind of stringing solutions together, which is fun. This is how a lot of the world's problems get solved. Just stringing solutions together. So what we're going to need to do is we need to update this. This is the encoded ones. I don't want to output them yet. I do want to make sure they're doing what we expect them to do. Let me get this crap out the way. See if it works. Oh, bingo. That's what we want. Okay. decoded URI .dex. All right, cool. All right, so step number 1. Python always comes in handy. You can do a lot of extensibility is the word. And getting like, especially if you get into pen testing or get to the mid level, being able to adapt and utilize coding to help with whatever you're doing works. So like for instance, I remember in my first job too, I was having to go through 3 years worth of, I want to say it was IP addresses, and we didn't have a way to do it with the SIM at the time. And so I wrote PowerShell scripts to parse through it, because it's not like you can load a 20 gig or whatever spreadsheet into Excel. It's not going to work. You load anything over a gig, it's probably going to choke. So like creating ways to be able to do your job in a creative way always helps. So now, for those of you who are wondering, what is this that we have? So these are the successful SQLi, I'm looking at this and I was like, why is 23 in here twice with 2 different numbers? So theoretically, with the successful ones, we should be able to say, okay, I can take this ASCII character and translate it into the ASCII character, and I can piece it together with the offset here. So these, and I should be good. So we'll see. Yep, you got it. That is exactly what they're doing. And we're going to, even without access to the table, we're going to rebuild what happens to be in that table. So that is the trick here. And so we're going to try that out. I'm looking through here to see if there's anything else funky. I wish you many more hacker moments in your life. I will tell you, there is nothing like popping your first box in real life. You'll be riding that win for a long, long, long time. All right, so we may need to batch these. And I say that because they're different. So ID limit, order by ID limit 5.1. I don't know exactly what this part does. Let's actually throw it in chat and see if it'll tell us what it means. I could look it up, but I'm being lazy today. What does this SQLi do? So I thought the same, but what confused me is that unless it's an array, there's 2 sets here. So 5.1, 2.9.1. That's what's confusing to me. Or column 1. Let's see if it breaks down. Select, this is the core. Selects the 6th row, limit 5.1 from the profiles table. Ordered by ID. This limits the attack to targeting one specific entry. Okay, so the 6th row, limit 5.1. That's kind of interesting that it's done like that. And let's see, cast, it converts the data into a comparable string format. This probably is what allows them to iterate over it. And this so this is what I thought they were doing the iteration over, which seems to be correct. The function extracts a single character starting with the 29th position, retrieve the description string, and then or converts the single extracted character into its ASCII corresponding integer. This is the Boolean comparison ASCII value of G. Okay. So this part we'll know is the different item in the list, and then the second one is iterating over, like when it starts iterating over the characters. So we were close, but confirming is always better than guessing. All right, so the next issue that we have to solve, because we still have issues, is that sometimes we're seeing that multiple positions like this one and this one are the same exact position, same name, but different value. So both of these came back. So that's going to be a problem. So we're going to have to probably sort these, I imagine. And then, because this is going to, these both came back true, and that makes sense, right? Because 112 is greater than 96, so it makes sense. So if this came back true, or this came back true, this is certainly coming back true. But we need to be able to remove these from our list. So let's see if we can do, now that we actually have a list, let's see if we can sort them and then remove the lowest value if everything else is the same. And then we'll extract the last bit and then convert them all to their ASCII value. And then we should see what we're meant to see. This is a fun one. This is like one of the ones you actually have to think pretty hard about to do. I love CTFs, and I haven't really done a good one in a while. I'm sad at the Simply Cyber one. I didn't get to play as much as I wanted. And most of the time I was shoulder surfing AJ and guiding him because he doesn't do a lot of that stuff very often, but we had fun. We had fun regardless. Okay, so let's do a sort. That should give us pretty much what we need, because this is just the last part that we want. I'm just making sure it's sorting as expected. So we see multiple here, so that makes sense. So in this case, right, like we need to remove the lowest number. So this will be interesting. So I wonder, we might be able to do some Python to do this, where it looks at each line and says, all right, if this part is the same between two different ones, so we'll sort them first, and then if this part is the same, keep the highest value, whatever it is. And then we should have a good output. Now this other one, so they're like changing up the game slightly over here. Uh-oh, machine's expiring. Let's renew. How do I renew? Add an hour, and I think I have to reload. Did it blow my thing away? Hopefully not. Okay, good. All right, so I was a little quiet-ish. I'm trying to think through my head how I would like to approach this. Like this one has 4 different ones, and we'd want to keep 54. So we need a flag. That's the THM question. What's the flag? So pretty, pretty great clue. Just get a flag, whatever that is. So I'm curious what the flag is going to be with 3,000 results. So let's work in here real quick with this. So what I'm going to do, the problem is that sometimes they switch up what they're doing. So that's going to screw us up. Yeah, yep. That's what we're doing. Reversing a brute force. So much fun. So we need to figure out how to group these into different subsets. So this is a profile DB, this is information schema. So I don't know how I want to do it. Look for them doing cross-site scripting at the end of it. That's funny. So there is no sleep timers. That's what we extracted earlier. So the response looks like, let me see if I can find it. Let me remove this. Yeah, so let's see if I can find it. So this is all 50,000. Okay, cool. So what it responds with, if it's true, is, move this over so we can actually see it. If I can find it. I want to see responses only. So response in 58. Let's go to 58. Let me filter on this one more time. Apply as filter and selected. This should give us all the responses. We'll do also add this as a filter. All right, so this should make it a little bit easier for us to find the responses. Oh, I did the reverse by accident. Oops. Is it DST? There we go. So this should be all of the responses. So this is what the result is. If it's true, this is what we should see. And so that's how I pulled it out. This is how I was able to determine if the request was true, was by basically filtering down for all of these and then extracting this field here, the request in field 12, and then taking that list and then pulling all of those specific packets, and then from that packet pulling the URI request. So yeah, that's how I did it. It was a quite the journey. Yeah, probably. But we're going to have to still figure out. So the problem is still that we need to be able to group these somehow into specific tables. So we have information schema. Here's a specific thing. So we need to be able to group these essentially so that I can then identify what the greater number is here. And then once we do that, we're good. So I still need to figure out how to group these because the beginning is different depending on what they're searching, which is going to throw me off. So maybe we could search information schema first and then maybe search profile DB, or we could do profile DB first actually. So let's see. Where did I put my list? Request URIs. That's what we got. And then we want to decoded URIs. Okay. So what we can do is we can do cat decoded URIs. Then we can pipe that, and then we can do grep. We can do information schema maybe. No, let's do profiles.db. So profile.db. Profile.db. Perfect. And then we can sort this. And now we can run a PowerShell script on this. WC-L. So there's almost 3,000 of these. So almost all of them are profiles, which is interesting. So you're saying try to filter out the last query that actually brute forces the columns from a table, because this first brute forces database names and then tables name, and only then actually. So that's a fair point. We could do that. Let me go back to. So let's see, sort. So you're talking about doing information schema tables. So this is actually going into a table versus a database. So we can search for that. And let me do a line count here, WC-L. So there's only 104 of these, so that's not very many. So this may be the flag. You may be onto something here. Let's do a sort. Let's put this into a list. Let's see, tables.txt. Then I'm going to do vi tables.txt. And then I want to remove anything that doesn't have numbers in it. Like this one. Now everything should have a letter. And now, well, we could probably manually do this, but let's see, select if no, blah, 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 from information tables where table schema equals this. Yeah, I would tend to agree to you or agree with you, but we can give it a go. Let's see, what does this do? I'm not a fan of doing SQLi. I always have to look up everything for the databases when I do it. Let's see, where table schema hexamal value decodes the string profile DB. Oh, so it's the same thing. This ensures attackers only querying the names belong to that. Oh, they're trying to throw us off where we're going to have to convert that as well. That's not right. That's funny. They threw this in here to mess us up. So, so I wonder if there are anything else in there besides table schema and this other one, or they only did those few to screw up our parsing abilities. Because that's basically what they did, is they just threw a wrench in our ability to parse. So we could do a count here where we count what's in both and see if there's anything left, or we could do a not. I forget how to do a not. So see cat file and inverse grep strings. I forget. I think it's like tac v maybe. Wow, this one's really thinking hard on this one. Yeah, it was v. Okay. Boom. EV. Okay, let's give that a go. So EV and file name. So let's get out of this queue. Oh, crap. So this, right, quit, because I did update the file. And we want to do a grep EV, and we need to, what was it, include, just put it in strings, so capital E, lowercase v, strings separated by pipe, EV. Then we want to say tables, profile.db. And then give it the file, which is going to be decoded URIs. And there are things in here. Oh, I did. So there are a few more in here. Yeah, it is funny. If you're just joining us, sorry, I've been slacking because I'm going down a rabbit hole here. But yeah, if you have any questions, happy to answer them. We're just really scratching our brain and try to make a solution work for this problem. So it's pretty interesting. I'm having a good time. Let's see. I'm having a good time. I don't know about you. So there's 56 lines here. So query one and or as database as cast database as in char. I wonder if this is doing the database searching, because we've pretty much saw that everything else so far has been profiles DB. Let's see. Care by like which node, blah blah blah. Database is a built-in function that returns the name of the current selective activity database as a string. So this is their working out whatever the database name is. Okay. So I guess it is safe to say that we could probably focus on everything but those, but these, and be okay. So we could probably exclude these and be okay. So let's exclude what's the other one? So this is the grep table. So the question is, can we just pull all these out and just pull this section out? Because they're all querying profile DB, sort them, and then remove the lowest values and then convert ASCII. That's what I'm thinking. Because I want to say that they're going to be pretty similar to this one. Sorry, moving it out the way. So, boom. So I think that's what we'll be able to do. So we need to basically regex, but it may be easier to do it a different way in the command line. So let's see. We're doing a lot in Bash today, which is interesting. I typically only work really quick in Bash and then move on, but we'll see. So let's see. I need to only capture everything after limit for 3,000 lines. What is the fastest way to do this? Let's see what it says. Grep an awk, so grep limit. Okay, sure, that looks good. The description is the tables column. It's brute forcing. What you talking about? So, oh, so you're talking about, okay, got it. Yeah. So maybe we can, do you remember if the other ones we were looking at were going off their description as well? No, they're not. So, this is correct. Okay. So my grepping was a little off. Description. So we can grep for description, then pull out only limit. Let's see how much there are with if we grep description. See cat decoded grep description wc tach l. So there's 2,700. So they do that quite a bit, and then we need to run our query here. Nope, not that one. I didn't copy and paste it. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. Maybe we'll finish today. Maybe. So let's copy this again. Bring it over to this. Paste it. Great. And get rid of that. We need a change. Oh, stupid. All right, let's build this real quick. So we got this. This needs to be changed to this. Then we need to say grep the, so we need to do, I know we can do it without doing cat, but that's okay. So we'll actually move this, we'll say this, grep and description, then we'll grep that, and we should be fine. Let's just run this portion and see what we have before we write to a file. And this is not what we wanted. So something's off. Grep because isolate relevant lines containing the word limit, and awk can easily extract the specific parts. So pipe said the output to awk restricts space after limit as a field separator and prints only. Let's see, how do I do awk? And how do I want to print everything after limit. master lengths. Oh, okay. So we can use that as the separator. That's interesting. And then we print. So it's saying we don't need to do this other grep. We need to do awk f limit. So awk tac f, probably need to put this in quotes, limit. Boom, that's what we want. Okay, we're getting there. All right, so now we need to sort. We're sorted. And now we need to remove the lowest value when everything else is the same. All right. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, I'm going to shoot it. Oh, it is the same. Oops. All right, I'll throw it in here. All right, so how do I want to do this next part? Probably Python's going to be the easiest one. All right, let's see. I'm going to just actually pull out a handful of these, and I'm going to ask chat the best way to do it. Yeah, so what I'm going to try to do is remove all except the highest value. And then we're just going to straight up convert all the ASCII after that point. We'll just cut everything and then convert to ASCII. But I need a way to do this without having to manually go through 3,000 values. You know, that's always fun. Let's ask, okay, so based on this output, I want to keep the highest value after the greater than sign when the rest is the same. What is the best way to do this? Let's use awk. Oh, I didn't know you could do this with awk. Key 1, key 2. Let's see what this does. This is going into new territory. I've never used awk in this way before. This sets the field separator to that. Okay. Yep, and then the value becomes 38. So 1 and 2 assigns the parts of the line to the variable. So the highest value is because it's looking for, basically, if you look at this, we would say, let me just pull out a subsection here. So if we say greater than 16 is true, it's correct. So greater than 24 is also correct. Okay, so we know it's not 16, maybe 24, but 28 also works, 30 works, 31 works. So it's probably the highest value plus 1, actually. So 32 is probably the value because it's greater than whatever this number is to return true. So that's my thoughts. Let's see. Sort, it loops through. We could do it on a small subset to make sure it makes sense. I'm not sure about this part. This is core logic, an association array where the index is the unique key, everything before. It checks if the current value is higher than the previous record, maximum for the specific key, and so on. It adapts. Well, it might work. YOLO. YOLO, as the cool kids say. All right, so we need to output what is this? Description values dot text, sure. And then we need to use this as our input. And then this should give us what we're looking for, maybe. I didn't do shit. No, it did. No, it did give us what we wanted. Okay, cool. All right. So these are all the values. And now the trick is we need to, I thought they were going to be sorted, but they're not. 76, 78, 79. There's 8. So they're kind of sorted. So we may need to do a separate like this value. So we're going to have to figure out a way to now build these back. Sheesh, that is it's a big value there. So we got 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That sounds good. 10. So maybe if we extract this value, and this value, and then sort by this as the primary, this by the secondary, we'll be fine. And nope, we also need that first value. Okay, so no, we just need the first value, the third value, and then what's after the comma? What's weird? So it's doing it alphanumerically is how it's doing it. That's why the numbers are off. But I think if we extract the numbers and then we can sort by the columns, it'll be fine. I think. We could do a cut and say cut by comma. And then we'd have to figure out how to get rid of everything to the right. All right, so let's see. I could probably ask ChatGPT to help us with this one as well. Let's see. I want to extract specific values from a large list of similarly formatted values. In the example below, I want the 4, 23, and 103 values only. Third number is the character offset. So let's see. So you're saying this is the record. I'd buy that. This is the offset. I think that's what we said. I think that's what we said earlier, wasn't it? So value number 6, and then offset 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perhaps. Let's see if this works. I don't know if it is. All right, so let's put this over here. Yeah, it's fine. I just need to make sure we can sort them properly. Right now, my sorting is all kinds of goofed up, and I need numeric values. So that's what I'm working on. Yeah, be invested, man. This is fun. Other people are like, y'all are giving me a headache. I'm out of here. That's okay. It's not for everyone, you know? So description values, was that the last command we did? ls. No, so we need to output this to, no, I think we did do, I don't even remember. Hold on, let me see what, okay, so what's the cat description values? Okay, so cat that, I think we can add that, and then that is going to allow us to get rid of this. And then I just need to get rid of this last pipe. That did not do what we wanted it to do. Maybe we can update it. So awk is it's doing the commas, and let's see. I just need an example of what we're doing, and I can probably figure it out. So let's see what the deal is. Okay. All right, we're getting there. So let's try to reverse engineer this a little bit. Let me make my screen bigger. I need more working space now. All right, so we pulled out essentially a 6, comma, in this one. So we wanted this one. So this should be, so this is 1, 2. Oh, interesting. So something's off, because this should have been 4. Let's see what happens if we change the value to 2. So it'd be 6, 1, 1. So it really doesn't. I wonder why it's not picking up anything. So it's taking the commas as a 3. Interesting. Six, 9, 1. Yeah. That should be it for the most part, except this last one we need to switch to 6, I think. Nope. Maybe we need to add, these are all the values that are delimiters, I think, here. So if we add this, and then we adjust this to maybe 5. Nope, 6. Sorry, 6 is what we want. Ah, still didn't work. Hey, Philippe. Man, you're popping in right near the end. Did you have school again? Yeah, it's okay. Happy to have you, as always. We're having an interesting time this evening. I wonder if I have to escape that. I don't think so, because it interpreted it. So commas, greater, open, close, greater than. We'll try A just for. Okay, sure, I'll take it. All right. We finally have what we want, but now we're kind of in a weird spot here. Because whatever we did wasn't, it's not correct, because look at this. So our offsets are wrong. So something's up here. I'm going to put this here for later, and we'll go back. And what I mean is, okay, so this is doing the description values. Let's do max values .txt, and then this needs to be max values. All right, there you go. This makes more sense now. Okay, now we just need to get our sorting down, and then we're going to be in a really, really good spot. Maybe. It looks like there's some missing numbers, though. Maybe not. We'll see. If I've missed you and you're just joining us with Philippe, feel free to ask questions. We're kind of near the end, so I'm definitely open to pausing if we need to and answering any questions that are out there. I'm happy to help, happy to provide any advice. If anyone wants me to throw up whatever your game plan is, we can go through it and kick the tires on it and see if we can help you improve your plan. All right, so while we're waiting on that, I'm going to take this and see if chat can give us a way to organized by the first two columns here. Comma, delimited value. I want to sort by the first number and then the second number. I haven't looked into it, but I imagine it's probably not particularly useful. And I say that because it takes them quite some time to put a certification together. I'll pull it up on the screen and look. And AI is moving so fast. Like every year for the last, not every year. So for the last 2 years, I've done an offensive AI certification course, or AI. It's not a certification, but it is a course, and the attacks change significantly. The way the models are being run change significantly. I don't think they can keep up. I'm skeptical, but I do want to look at it. And I really like if you're looking at it from like a normal use perspective, I probably prompt engineering is about the only thing you can get good out of there, and it's probably doesn't take that long to learn it. More than likely, but where was I going to go with it? Prompt engineering, yeah, but some of that's changing too, like the way to kind of scope what you're asking and set context. That's also changing. So, pretty interesting. Let me do this part and then. Hey, look at that. All right. Heck yeah. We have something that makes sense. Get the heck out of here. Good job. Good job. Den, you're providing some valuable input, and we got some good stuff here. Okay, so now the funky thing is now we need to iterate probably +1 on this last one, probably because it's greater than, not equal to, and then we need to convert to ASCII and we'll be done. Maybe. All right. So let me output this really quick. Well, we can't do just that number because then it won't make sense. Because we still need these, we'll need to batch them into groups. So like 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then iterate over them. So let me increase the value first to the right by 1, and then we will work on grouping them, and I might just do a Python script for that one. That might be easier. So let's do this. Let me output this to what were you saying? This is max sorted .txt. Okay, so now let's do, hey, right? We've invested 3 hours of our life. Dude, hey, we're approaching it logically. What are we going to do, man? All right, so let's see. I need to increase the last number by 1 for every line. Let's see what it says. That's kind of cool if you can do that with awk. Awk seems pretty beast mode. I don't know what I did there. All right. So, shit. Then we need max sorted.txt. Okay. All right. So let's update this to max plus 1. Probably can't use a plus sign. Max plus 1.txt. All right. This has been a stressful experience. Thank you everyone for hanging in there. I think we're like hanging on by a thread of our sanity. This is like I'm going to be pretty excited if we get this to work. This has been quite the trip here. All right, so let's think about this. So our prompt is going to be something to the effect of, I want a Python script to convert all of these in order. No, not necessarily. So using, hold on, let's see. So using the first number for grouping words, the second number for position, and the last number as an ASCII value, give me a Python script to convert this to words. So who wants to YOLO and just throw this in there and run it and see what happens? Because that's where I'm about at right now. YOLO, let's go. All right. So let's create another one of these. All right. So we have this, and hopefully there's Python on this thing. We're using import sys, so that shouldn't cause us any issues. We may run into spacing issues here, perhaps. What did it say about the file name, how to use it? Okay, so we just run it just like this and then point it to the data. Okay, let's do it. So let's save this. We're going to save it to our desktop. Let's see. We're just going to call it words.py. Why not? Okay, save. Now we're going to say Python words.py to max. Why do I not have tab completion plus 1.txt? Come on. No Python, really? Oh, no frickin' way. I mean, it kind of got messed up, but look what we got. Look what we got, people. Holy smokes. What? This is pretty awesome. What in the world? That's cool. That was fun. Who enjoyed that one? That was pretty sick. That there were so many moving pieces to that one. It was pretty sickening. Sheesh. Again, I've oh, did it? No way. Is it still going? Let's see. Let me check it out. Let me see what's going on here. We're checking. We're checking. Oh, Twitch cut out. Get out of here. What a shame. Oh my gosh. What a shame. What a shame. Man, right, the world is trying to prevent us from celebrating this evening. Um, gosh. Not sure what the deal is with Twitch right now. So this was legitimately fun. So a lot of people actually like prep before they do these. This was yeah, this was brand new. I've never done this in my life, this one. So this was fun. This is what I enjoy about problem solving, to be honest, is like actually doing a tough challenge and solving it. And this was fun that, Dan was up here helping out as well. And we were kind of powering through this. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. And Dan can go to bed now. I kept him on the edge of a seat this evening. Thank you. You're helping the metrics. YouTube and Twitch will like me more because you stayed on the whole time. Yeah, I mean, we have like 20 minutes. Is there any questions? Anyone wants to ask while we're on here? I know Din's already been asking questions. Din's been a good audience member this evening. Anyone else? Oof, we got 30 points. Did I get a big bump? I don't know. I thought this one was going to be easier than it was. I will say that. I was like, oh, okay, it's just going to be, whatever. It was not whatever. It was pretty difficult, but doable. But doable. Yeah, so if you're going to hop on next week, just let me know what you want to do. Feel free to chat on the stream video. Just drop a comment and we can get to work on whatever you want. But this one, we were just scripting some junk together. We were doing Wireshark analysis. We were using Tshark, which is the command line version of Wireshark. We used Python. What else did we do? We used a bunch of command line tools. We use AI to help us walk through this. Yeah, and there's a lot of tricky pieces there, right? If we didn't do +1, we wouldn't have got the answer. So we had to do +1. But they were also like you honing in on the description piece. That helped seal the deal as well. That was a really good insight. Yeah, yeah, and it's true, and this is why like CTFs can be so powerful, where you're playing with these ideas that and trying to like make magic happen with all these different pieces, and just trying to get a working solution any way possible. And when you're in like your everyday work, you might not get to it. And for those who aren't doing it every day, it's a good way to really flex those muscles, if you will. I mean, because it really is muscles, and you're just thinking about how to creatively solve problems. And it is like a hard thing to teach. This is something I definitely stress with my folks, where, hey, the first solution probably isn't going to be the right solution. So we're just going to iterate and continue to work on this. We need everyone involved to come up with the best solution. Yeah, yeah, this was fun. Man, now like I'm stressed. I got to find another good one. Like this was probably the most difficult one we've done live so far. I got to find another good one. We've just been doing like fairly easy stuff, but yeah. Yeah, that's the cool thing. Like what's wild with CTFs, like if you go to whatever different conferences, the level of CTFs are significantly different. So you could have some with pretty easy problems, like the one at Simply Cyber had, I think it was like CTFD was hosting it. They were fairly easy. But if you get into any of these like DEF CON CTF qualifiers, you're going to be pulling your hair out. You might be lucky if you get one. Where the CTFD ones are designed where everyone can get something, and then you can start working on the more difficult ones. But some CTFs are wild. Yeah, this is the fun stuff, man. That's why I like OffSec too. It's not like you just do it like, oh, okay, that was easy. I didn't really have to think too hard. I just followed my textbook. This is like, OffSec is, oh no, we're going to tweak a few things and make you play around with it. You're not going to get it on the first try. You're going to have to work and figure some things out, do some research on your own. Then you'll get the answer. Um, yeah, this was cool. I like how much better AI is getting as well. Like it did pretty solid helping us like put scripts together quickly. Like I am legitimately surprised the Python script worked out of the box. That was, and it mostly, like it didn't work fully, right? But it worked good enough. We saw it break, and certain pieces didn't um, come out clear, but it worked good enough to get our flag so we could finish up here. Um, so surprising. Even all the scripting stuff we were asking, it did a pretty good job. Um, I have never used awk in this way. Um, Super powerful. I am a believer now in awk. I will start using this a lot more. I did not know you could do all this stuff. So that's pretty cool. Also didn't know you could do this with sort. So I've been pretty lazy with sort, where I just sort in general. But being able to do it based on column and using a delimiter, that was a pretty nifty trick as well. So I don't know if you've ever used sort before, but that was pretty nifty. Let's see. Yeah, that's same reason I avoid using regex is because I don't want to use it like this. I've been like, no way. I don't know what the heck is going over here. Um, yeah, regex is just sucks. But awk doesn't look that bad. Like it looks like it's just basically breaking stuff up into fields, and then you can do whatever you want. You can iterate over the fields, um, which is pretty nifty. And then like your output, this looks like you're creating a new separation. So we could have did anything. We could have did like a dash. We could have did a space. So that was pretty nifty. There was a lot of really cool tricks we blended together. Like this was cool too. This awk with the doing the max values. We could have probably, I mean, we most certainly could have used Python for all of this, but it was fun doing it in the command line versus doing it in Python. I mean, Python's kind of the easy answer, but what are you going to do? I'm trying to see if there's anything else cool in here. We had to fix some stuff. It wasn't right 100%. We did have to fix some stuff like the positioning. One was off a little bit, and we had to play around with that one. Still not sure quite what was wrong. Like it didn't make sense logically to me, but We iterated over it. The field numbers didn't logically make sense to me. I felt like it skipped some stuff, but what are you going to do? This was cool. I've done this before. Did you know you could do inverse grep, Dan? That's a fun little trick. Yeah, all fun stuff. Okay, let's look at the certification that Philippe was talking about. I'm gonna drop this over here because it's new. I know a lot of people are putting these out. I think CompTIA puts out a lot of stuff that is not particularly helpful. I would be curious about some of the stuff it's talking about, like securing AI systems. This is an interesting problem that I've come across in general. There's a lot of people asking how do you secure this, and it just depends on how it's constructed, right? And a lot of times we're seeing it in cloud environments. And so you have to think about securing the services themselves. So you're not only looking at the endpoint itself, but you're looking at like not the endpoint, but you're also looking at the input and how the model's handling it. Let's see what he said. Always avoid, don't even know what inverse grep is. So it's like the opposite of grep. So we grep, we're looking for something specific, but if we do inverse grep, we're saying, I want everything but this thing. So it's a way to basically do a not with grep. So sounds fancy, not that fancy, but it is helpful. AI assisted security. That sounds pretty lame. AI governance. This is a big one. I'm waiting to see a bunch of attorneys start taking on AI legal cases. I am very interested in the legal aspects of AI. We've already seen like lawyers thrown out of court because they use AI and it hallucinated cases and stuff, and the judge got pissed. I don't know if you saw that in the news, but it was pretty interesting. It doesn't look like there's a ton in the certification. Like this is cool. This part, this is cool, and this is cool. The rest of this to me is like whatever, you know. And this may be good for people who haven't looked at underlying stuff. I mean, like for me though, I've had quite a bit of training. I've done a lot of offensive stuff with it. So it wouldn't be necessarily that interesting, but it could be for you. I don't think it's going to be a big boost on your resume at this point. Let's see. And have the model say whether it's malicious or not. Yeah, a lot of SOCs are actually doing something very similar, Dan, where they're uh, trying to build models that'll help analysts do stuff. But the problem is if you don't give them full context in the situation, they do pretty poorly. So like even though you're like training it, it has to have the ability to do the same types of lookarounds that you're doing. So giving it the ability to do additional queries, and you can do that now. Like if you used like Llama and then coded in some I forget the proper AI like AI term, but it has to be able to make those additional queries out. So you could do like API queries or whatever outside from that for it to pull additional data in. So like less RAG, more of a lot more contextual building with it. And then it would be useful. But the problem is it misses a lot of context and you have issues. I am waiting for someone to like have an AI assistant that's watching as you do stuff, can see all the data coming in and continue and can like help guide you along the way. That would be cool to see. Um, but there is a lot of AI being built into stuff. So I've seen some network IDS tools that utilize it specifically to identify things that fall out of the baseline. So um, I mean, basically, think about you have like pretty normal activity, and I think they said it took like several weeks in order to train it on what baseline data is, and then anything that falls outside of that, it'll trigger. If there's a significant change, it will trigger. But in terms of AI stuff, I have, what else have I seen with it? There was a company I interviewed recently. I was looking to purchase a SIM or implement a SIM for a client, and they had some pretty interesting stuff they were developing. Basically, it was kind of a mix of a SOAR SIM and it also kind of automated the detections as well. So it did a lot of the backend stuff, and you could essentially the pitch for the product was that you could cut down on the amount of analyst time because it was correlating a lot of the data for you. So it was actively in the background pulling in all those queries that you would do normally by yourself as an analyst. So people are asking, is my job going to be impacted? I mean, yeah, like in that case, if you have one of these that actually works well, you're going to be able to reduce your staff significantly. So yeah, it would cut down on the numbers, but I mean, pretty much every job in IT is going to have some sort of impact from AI creating efficiencies. But my argument is this is where it comes in handy to be really good at what you do and to have a really developed skill set so that you're more likely to be hired. Because the downfall with AI is that if you are bad at the skill set, you're not going to be able to correct AI when it goes off the rails. You're not even going to recognize that it's doing something bad. So that's where we're at today. You have to, AI is only as powerful as the user, essentially. So that's a good thing. But I look at it as a workforce augmentation versus a workforce replacement. But that's just my 2 cents. I wonder if CompTIA has any other certifications they've come out with. They've been pretty busy. Let's see, Security Plus. What was the Security X cert? Because I saw that pop up somewhere. You have an A plus cyber. That's a new one. CYSA, OT. So OT's kind of been a new buzzword. Ah, here it is, cybersecurity expert. What's the difference between this and the other one? CompTIA used to be pretty easy. It was like A plus, Net plus, Linux plus, Security plus. That's it. Maybe I think Cast plus was in there somewhere. But yeah, let's see. Been thinking about creating a proof of concept. Oh, we just read that. Yeah, I think you should. I'd love to see what you come up with. Luckily, you can pull down models. Which one were you going to use? Something like Llama? Were you going to utilize like a RAG type thing, or were you like legit going to train your model on the data? Security X, let's see, retirement, passing score. Recommended 10 years of experience for this. I don't know anyone with 10 years of experience that would probably take this certification. Interesting. Cyber Defense Pro, that's a new one. I haven't heard of that one. Ethical Hacker Pro. So they have an ethical hacker certification and a pen test certification now. It's too much. Man, I don't envy you guys, like having to get in here and be like, oh, there's all these things. I have to get all of these. You don't. You don't. But it is confusing. Yeah. Fine tune it, but I haven't started. Thinking out loud. Oh, I shared the wrong one. This is the one I wanted to share. Yeah, it'll be a fun experiment. I've had some ideas for doing pen testing with models, like helping it basically um, almost like utilizing a RAG. So training it on techniques, right? That's one thing, right? Because you got to think about it in two kind of situations. One, you need to train it on the techniques, train it on all that kind of stuff, but then you need to be able to feed it data and contextualize whatever you're doing. So that's why I'm thinking of RAG for that contextualized data, and then training it and then utilizing it to map out attack paths for you as you feed it data. But that's me just thinking out loud. So like Bloodhound on steroids is what I'm thinking, if you've ever heard of Bloodhound. I hear there's a couple people trying to build it out there. Nothing's really taken off yet in the offensive world. So we'll see if anyone gets something working in time. I 100% do not trust AI to launch attacks at this point. If I was an organization, I was a CISO or CTO, I would never allow AI to just start attacking stuff without someone doing it. It's too much risk. Think of it like a financial firm that just lets it go and then it just goes haywire, takes down all these databases. Um, yeah, what a hot mess. Too much risk, right? They always think in terms of risk. So if you want to talk risk, yeah, letting AI loose in your environment to attack stuff, yeah, fun idea of risk. Fun idea of risk. Let's see. This was a pretty good site that was shared today as well. I'm gonna drop it back in chat in case anyone wants to see it. It was pretty cool. A lot of information. I don't know how often it's updated, but it seemed like it's pretty good. I mean, there's some stuff from 2025 in here. I wonder where. I wonder if you can. Ooh, excuse me. I wonder if you could click in here and see like. Okay, there we go. 76%. The phishing, the deep fakes. Oh yeah. The malware is kind of like whatever. I don't think it does that great of a job with the malware, but I think in terms of being able to create malware, it comes in handy. Like I've literally my dev time for malware has been dropped down to a fraction. So it used to take me maybe 3 weeks to create a brand new like C2 infrastructure and a ransomware sample like from scratch. Now maybe a week, if that. I go pretty quick now with it. It's just so fast with AI. Again, I can't just tell it to run it. It does some, or not run it. I can't tell it to just create it for me. It does some dumb stuff, really, right? Like, because when you're writing malware, you don't want it to be exactly like other stuff out there, which is where AI is probably going to build. It's like, oh yeah, I see all this stuff on the web, and I'm gonna build it just like that. So it's like part of your expertise is like guiding it to do things slightly different and do variations. But if you kind of know what you're looking for, it'll do it really well. So like, I'm trying to think what else I've done with it. I've done some fun stuff. I've had it help me fine tune an exploit for a web application. So, like, I was doing some web app pen testing for a client. I was targeting a web application. I was doing like, it looked like it would be vulnerable to a specific attack. I got, I elicited an error that really made me think that it was vulnerable. Like, it was like, okay, yeah, this isn't acting like it's not vulnerable. It's acting suspicious here. And then I used AI to fine tune that exploit to actually work. So it was like all of it was net new to the AI, which was really interesting. Where I was feeding it a little bit of information about the application and the results, and together, like it took like an hour still, it took quite a bit of time, but together we were able to fine tune that exploit pretty quick and get it to work. And I forgot what application it was. I can't even remember, but it was a it was a pretty cool experience to see, like, hey, this isn't anywhere on the internet. We're working together. We're honing an exploit together. That was a really cool experience for me. Yeah, cool. So, guess what time it is? Time for me to hang out with a girlfriend and relax for a little bit before it's time for bed. But I appreciate everyone who joined tonight. Um, we'll have, yeah, we just put out the Purple Team extended version for C Suite Cyber. So if you like hearing my voice, I don't know, maybe you do. Maybe that's why we hang out. You can check that out. So AJ, my co-host, and I dug deeper into the topic. So this was the presentation we did at Simply CyberCon. I'll have a couple more videos coming out this week as well. And if there is anything you would like for me to do a video on, a YouTube video, I am happy to do that. Hop in the Discord channel. If you're not in there, go ahead and join. Hop in there, drop a comment, say, hey, Mike, I'd like to learn more about this or know more about this topic. Happy to do it. With that, make sure to subscribe if you're not. Feel free to like anything that resonates with you. And yeah, I'll see you next Thursday. Same time, same place, same channel.